Islam, 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 Moorish America, want to rise upon the seven within the unbroken circle of justice, mercy, love, and right, and give all praises to the great God Allah, Father God Allah, and honors to his holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, noble Julie, Al-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish kin once again here, there, and everywhere, and therefore honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. We give honors to our Grand National Seal. We give honors to our Grand National Emblem, National Flag, Divine Constitution, and bylaws, and honors to all of you who are indeed a living manifestation and personification of everything that our Holy Prophet brought to exhume us as a nation. I want to welcome you to another Moorish Perspectives. I'm your host instructor, Dr. Shahid Imani Amohadi Shabazel. My ancient Comedian high name being the same as Dr. Shedawa Minchi El Moheja Shepswell. And we have a grand drawing to bring on the manifest Moorish kin, humanity. We are most definitely here to bring our people into the divinity of what it means to represent ourselves as Moorish American Muslims. So it's a grand drawing that we have to bring to our people, and we hope that all of our people will be able and ready, so to speak, to give their perspectives when we are done with this special measure. Praise be to Allah. Allah is leading on, victory sure. I want to ask my Moorish kin out there in social media before I move forward. Can you hear my sound? By the way, can you hear me speaking? Can you hear me on the conference call? And also to those who are in the
Yeah, we hear you on the conference call.
Okay, and those who hear me via social media, let me know that you can hear me there too. I have a new apparatus, but I ain't had a chance to set it up yet. Because my other apparatus, for some reason, uh, when they tried to fix it, it has no sensitivity, so to speak, for me to touch it. So I had to cease and desist on that and invest in another apparatus. A lot of them make no mistakes, so we keep it moving, so to speak. And then my other apparatus that I was using, it's kind of fading out on me. So I'm trying to transfer the information of just my contacts, over from that measure to the other droid, and we'll get to all of that when we are done with this special session, so to speak. So we just want to make sure that our family can hear us out here. So let me check over here. Okay, so they say they can hear me clear. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna drop this because I had that up so that our family can get it. And also I'm right now trying to send out to our family who normally support the government. I'm sending them the link so that they can be present, so to speak. To be honest with you, all of our Moorish kin, even if they don't have nothing to say, should be supportive of us going. You don't have to get on here. But if you see that link and you don't click on it, you're not in support, of reaching out to our government and reaching the people. But all is well. Allah knows best. So, okay, there we go. Yeah, I just sent that out. So the family just picked it up. If you come in here, all is well, you're welcome. And we'll definitely let you know. And we give honors to the family that's checking in all via social media. In our subject, we're going to draw from the very beginning of this chapter, opening it up, where it states, few students, honors to our Grand National Secretary of the State, such as Chpt32, Rakat Maat and Putut to come and Bay, for all you do and support, Grand Secretary of the State. All right. You know what? And better yet, hold up, let me do this here. And if you are here, be sure to hit the like, share, and subscribe, because we have quality information here, and our people need to be turned on to this information. A lot of people trying to keep the information secret so they can go out there and act as if they learn some things and go before the masses to behoove them. We know what time it is. That's that spirit of Western Freemason. They want to talk more. But anyway, I want to give honors to Noble Brian L. So our subject title coming from the very first ayahs. Few students ever entered these rooms. The priest guarded them with awe and called them halls of mysteries. When Yehoshua had attained the victory over fear, he gained the right to enter here. That's a powerful measure. And we know that the last chapter was overcoming all types of hissing serpents and beasts that was growling and snarling and birds that was, giving the death cry. We picked up on all of that, but now dealing with these halls of mysteries, all of this really had to do with that which was above the neck, because remember, we deal with the chemistry of mortal life, the ministry of deific life, and what we call the mystery part and self, the ministry of love, and then the mystery of deific life. And so when we deal with the halls of mysteries, we talk about them all the time. They are often referred to as the halls of Amenti, in the Kemetic text. These halls of the mystery had to do with, the realm of thought. You see, the keys that we are given to civilization by a holy prophet were given to us so that we may be able to unlock, our consciousness, so to speak. And the only way that you can truly go into this hall of the mysteries is that you have to get beyond the noise, of these beasts, which really represent the passions and desire, the lower self. All of those things that distract our people. Remember, we have 3 levels of the soul: bestiality, consciousness, and felicity. In Sufism, the teachings of Tasawwuf, the rites of the Sebagatala, where one is to be immersed in divine wisdom. You learn to tame the beast, which is the lower self. I remember hearing the story, when they was talking about the tribe of Shabazz, and we know that the tribe of Shabazz is nothing more than the Shemsu Hor, who set up, a civilization along the Nile Valley. But the Shemsu Hor, this tribe, so to speak, a perfected tribe, when you understand the origins of the name, King of Falcon, it was the Falcon clan is what they called it, Shemsu Hor. The Falcon tribe, Shah means king, and Baz represented a sacred falcon. There's a history dealing with, this sacred bird, so to speak, that ascends into the heights. A white bird, a white hawk, and they give many different histories of mythos in relation to dealing with this teaching. But this is the one that was said to soar into the heights. The Shabazi Ruh is what the Sufis called it. The Shabazz, once led a king who had fallen from grace, into the consciousness of himself, because the king began to rule in a way that was oppressive to the people. And then once this king was taught great things by this sacred bird, which is symbolic to the spirit, the king was able to get his act together, so to speak. And this is what really gave ones the power. And that particular king became what they called the first grand falconer of the falcon tribe. This is a real history. Look it up. And dealing with this knowledge, when you ascend into the heights, you are so far elated to where the plane of things made manifest almost don't even exist to you because you are so elevated. You see, this was the likeness of most of those who became master teachers, prophets, divine warners, gurus, saints, masterminds, adepts, whatever title, high title or name you want to give to them. They were able to soar into the heights of their divinity. Notice it states few students ever entered these rooms. So everybody couldn't go. In fact, it gets so deep when we understand that few was able to enter these rooms, these halls of the mysteries. It was not because someone was holding them back. They didn't have the keys to enter, so to speak. It's because they didn't acknowledge what they had in their possession. You see, I can give you a handful of diamonds, and if you didn't know no better, you been zirconia, some CZs, and just toss them to the side like they ain't nothing. But we too have to attain victory over fear, false evidence that appears real. To gain, access to this special realm, we have to. So the priest, high priest, so to speak, which represents the highest realm of your divinity as it relates to the thought. These are cherubim and seraphim in all actuality. This is the guardian. What does the cherubim do? Stand before, the gateway so that the thoughts of naught can't even enter. And once you have a mindset that have these type of guardians, present, the spirit of the Almighty God, Allah, the chief protectors, of your divinity, then it ain't nothing that you can't overcome. Then you have the right to enter the halls of the mysteries. But if by chance you are taken off, misguided, overwhelmed, so to speak, by that lower self, them beasts, or that bestiality, to where you become oppressive like that king I was telling you about, and you can never gain a wisdom because of this, then trouble is to come. This is some real history now. We ain't just making nothing up, And so it's a powerful drawing, and that leads us, this is what leads us beyond this degree, even into the 7th degree. It's a powerful measure. So Yehoshua, we are told, takes this 6th degree and he passed the 6th adept chamber of the Eastern Sages. And the measure that he is dealing with here is in relation to what was in the way of him getting here. We know the guide led the way, and after passing, as we are told in our chapter here, we got it displayed before our family. The guide led the way, and after passing many richly furnished rooms, they reached the Hall of Harmony. Remember, I always tell our people, about, or remind them that Our 5 principles come from love. Come from harmony, truth, balance, right, order, and justice. And that harmony is synonymous with love. So the hall of harmony in this hall of mystery, just one hall, would be the hall of love. Love is the only thing that can bring harmony, truth. But Yehoshua was seeing a different type of love. He wasn't to be caught up, into a love entanglement. You see, he was left alone to his own vices, and they confronted him. These harmonic melodies that basically came through was among those which came forth from instruments of string. This is the harpsichord, so to speak. And so when we look at this special drawing, Yehoshua sat in thoughtful mood, and he observed, we are told. And then there was a maiden of entrancing beauty that came into the hall. And she did not seem to notice Yehoshua as he sat. At least she acted like she didn't. And she was basically, she acted as if she didn't seem to notice Yehoshua as he sat and mused, busy with his thoughts. She found a place beside the harpsichord, touched the chords most gently, and then she began to sing songs of Yisrael. Now, this is how she bidded to get Yehoshua's attention. In this new era in time, you will have those who will sing the song of Morsh America, because they know that this will be music to the ears of any God man, just as any God woman in her right mind, if she heard the chords and her brother struck the chord, she too would basically move accordingly by hearing this special sound. So Yehoshua was in trance. He had never seen the beauty such as this, because one thing about a goddess, if a goddess is beautiful, but she has a beautiful mind, it seems that she has a beautiful mind. This is her true adornment. She don't have to put on makeup. She don't have to put on form-fitting clothes. In fact, she can be completely covered, and her modesty becomes her beauty. So imagine one that can feign such modesty. Because in order to get Yehoshua's attention, come on now. Now they tell you Yehoshua was a God man. Some people say he was God himself. And if her beauty was so entrancing to where she was able to get his attention, that says a lot. But if we were to go deep into this, I have an analogy that a sister I ran across her measure demonstrated. She said, this is a random sister in social media. She said some of our sisters, if they ran into a brother like Yehoshua, she used the word Jesus. She said that a lot of these modern day women that claim him, and be so in love with Yehoshua, our brother they call Jesus, to the extent to where they love him to death. He died for. But if he were to be a man, or that man which crossed the threshold of their door, a lot of them would do to Jesus what they do to the average brother. This is a sister said this now. She said because, for one, Jesus didn't have a whole lot. Yehoshua didn't have a whole lot. He was a carpenter. And most of the modern women say they don't want no man, that's out there doing that type of work. So if they don't like that in, a regular man, then they wouldn't like it in Yehoshua either. That was a powerful degree she gave up. She saw some of these women would dog Yehoshua out just like she dogged out the average man. All because Yehoshua wouldn't be for the foolishness. He wouldn't have a whole lot to give her when it comes to the manifest, because Yehoshua wasn't said to be a rich man. You got some women say, I want a man like Jesus. No, you don't. You see, you just looking with your corner eye. Because Yehoshua ain't going to put up with you going out there dressing half naked. And we already seen some of the things he said about him. Yehoshua ain't going to go for you, out there drinking and smoking, because Yehoshua, wasn't on no demonstration like that. So, make it make sense now. But nevertheless, looking at this chapter, Yehoshua being a man in his manhood, yeah, he was entranced by the beauty. But he did not let it take him out. The maiden sang her song. She was blowing. Y'all think Beyonce can sing. And all these other sisters you hear, Erykah Badu, and Indy Iree. I'm just speaking of some sisters that can go. Jill Scott. You think these sisters can sing. This ain't nothing like what Yehoshua was entranced by. This sister had that angelic tongue, so to speak. See, we want to bring you in high definition with what Yehoshua was dealing with. So, again, he hadn't seen this. He hadn't heard. If he ain't seen it, he heard he's supposed to be the God man. And she had to be somewhere from heaven. Gonna let him tell it, Yehoshua the God man, that means he had to have foreknowledge. So if he ain't seen this, she had to be, pretty much sent by God himself. So the maiden sang her song. She didn't seem to know that anyone was near. At least she acted like that again. She went her way. Yehoshua was talking with himself, and he said out loud, what's the meaning of this incident? What is that? You done heard brother say that right there. What is that? Goodness gracious. I didn't know that such entrancing beauty and such queen-like loveliness was ever found among the sons of men. Yeah, listen, this Yehoshua now talking. Goodness gracious, I didn't know nothing that's beautiful was out here like this. I didn't know that the voice of an angel ever graced a human form. Or that seraphic music ever came from human lips. So for days, come on now, Yehoshua was set in trance and the current of his thought was changed. He thought about her so much that the current of his thought was changed. In other words, if he was moving in one direction, he started going in another. He thought of nothing but the singing her song. He almost lost sight of his mission. He longed to see her again. And when she came, she spoke and laid her hand upon his head. Her touch thrilled all his soul. This is Yehoshua now. For a time. And he forgot the work that he was sent to do. So if Yehoshua can be did this way, those who are in the carnal realm, where carnal men do carnal things, gonna be easily persuaded. Easily persuaded. Her touch thrilled all his soul. Right? And for a time, He forgot the work that he was sent to do. Goodness gracious. Few were the words the maiden said. She didn't even say nothing. And she had it. She had her hooks in it. So she went her way. She know what she had done. She know that in her seductive ways she had claimed Yehoshua. But the heart of Yehoshua had been touched. And a love flame, see, had been kindled in his soul. And he was brought to face the sorest trial of his life. A lot of us familiar with that there, ain't we, brothers? We done been through that demonstration where we done come through the degree of the love flame that was kindled in our soul, and one being brought face to face with the sorest trial of life. Is women talking about that too, on how men have got hurt. They had one brother they had on there. He tore a whole door down behind this woman. She was standing behind the bathroom door, and he tore the whole door off the frame. And then he walked off from the door. Sound like he was demon possessed. He went to Tasman. You know how Tasmanian devil do? You know, Taz was but yeah, you know, they can get in a brother's head, some brother's head like that. God almighty know. So yeah, the love flame had been kindled in his soul, and he was brought face to face with the sorest trial of life. He couldn't sleep. He couldn't even eat. Goodness gracious, you mean to tell me you got Yehoshua out here losing weight? You know, the deep thoughts of the maiden came, and they would not go. His carnal nature called loud for her companionship. Goodness gracious. And then he said, lo, I have conquered every foe that I have met. Shall I now be conquered by carnal love? See, this love flame was carnal love. You know, but it was going to take divine love for him to be his strongest. My Father sent me here to show the power of love divine. That love that reaches every living thing. He had to say, wait a minute, I'm stronger than that. You know, this universal love can't be absorbed by carnal love. Shall I forget all the creatures else and lose my life in this fair maid? Everything I done came forth through, though she is the highest type of beauty and purity and love. You know, into its very depths, his soul was stirred. And long he wrestled with this angel idol of his heart. Goodness gracious, how did it become an angel idol of his heart? Angel idol. So I told you she had to come from a heavenly abode, so to speak, to not be noticed as a temptress. So when the day was almost lost, his high ego rose in might, and he found himself again. And he said, although my heart shall break, I will not fall in this my hardest task. Why is this so close to the last ADEPT degree? That this is one of the most important degrees that Yehoshua had to go through before he can go beyond the senior course, so to speak. Because this is often the greatest test that can break a man. If that man is overwhelmed by carnal love. You know, many brothers have crashed out, you know, behind carnal love. There are many men in hotel les miserables that are free walking, that have become zombie due to their unwavering love for a woman that deceived them. So when she offered her hand and heart to Yehoshua again, he told her, "Fair one, your very presence thrilled me with delight. Your voice is benediction to my soul, and my human self will fly with you and be contented in your love. But all the world is craving for a love that I have come to manifest." Man, that sound almost similar to Lenny Williams. I love you. So when it come down to it, I love you, love you. Y'all know the song. I believe you, baby. I believe you. Goodness gracious. Y'all know them songs. Goodness gracious. So when we look at these drawings as they come out, man, Yehoshua was in a tight situation. He said, "My human self would fly with you." But he said, all the world is craving for love that I have come to manifest. And must I then bid you go? But we will meet again, and our ways on earth would not be cast apart. I see you in her thrones of the earth as a minister of love. And I hear your voice in song that wins the heart of men to better things. So he's seen her as a minister of love. And the sorrow and tears of the maiden went away. And Yehoshua was alone again. And then the great bells of the temple rang. And then the grotto blazed with light. The Hierophant himself appeared and said, "All hail triumphant, Logos, hail the conqueror of carnal love stands on the height." We talk about rising upon that seven. Yeah, with the unbroken circle of justice, love, justice, mercy, love, and right. Yeah. He placed in Yehoshua's hand a scroll on which was written love divine. And together they passed a grotto of the beautiful temple in the banquet hall. And the feast was served, and Yehoshua was honored as a guest. So all of this was necessary. He had to overcome victory over fear, in order for him to be able to gain the right to enter this particular measure. Because if he had any fear in himself, he couldn't overcome that love, that carnal love. It's fear that would cause a brother to stay in a situation that he knows is bad, for his health, mentally, physically, and spiritually. It's not conducive to his growth and development. And he stay there and lay there and play there. That's a terrible situation. But we have to be like, notice, he was in the city of the Temple of the Sun. This was in Kemet. The background was looking good. The scene was right. Palm trees and palm leaves all over the place. Just imagine that scene now. And you know how them Kemetic goddesses be looking in the, meta nature. So you can only imagine what the queen really looked like that he was dealing with. And all this was a representation of his thought pattern. Man. So if we see it from that particular drawing, and we see what really happened with Yehoshua, that was a real trial right there, boy. That was a real trial for one to go through. And so, again, few students student adepts have ever entered these rooms, because many couldn't pass the test. Many couldn't pass the test. And the priest wouldn't let anybody come in these halls of mystery. Because you had to have your stuff together. Or you can talk about come up in there. So you couldn't even be an adept. And many failed this test. I'm telling you now, victory over fear. That's the only way that you can gain right and enter that. So the case, before us is how we deal with the test when the test come to us. Huh? Yeah. That's something to really think about. And notice now, this is the 6th adept chamber of the Eastern sages. It get to certain degrees when you get toward the end, you hear the term adept chamber. In a few of the degrees. But this is the adept chamber of the Eastern sages. And we know that true East is within. These sages really represent high thoughts. Yeah. We got to make it practical, family. Because we want our people to really see what's going on here. Because this is a trial. That's why we were given marriage instructions and things that will bring us into the consciousness of what a matrimonial Hajj is. All type of lessons. Dealing with this hang up, that most men have when it comes to dealing with, women. Praise be to Allah that He has made what can be a blessing a lesson. Man, I tell you, and we don't get it. Most of our people don't realize, these are some real tests. And most of our people, like I said, they fail miserably. So that's why we got to be examples. Yehoshua was, our prophet's example, and our prophet was our example. And we have to be examples for our Moorish kin. That's what it really boiled down to. If not us, then who? We can't make this stuff up. It was already written. So yeah, there's a lot to be said. Much to be given to our Moorish kin and wisdom. And so we just encourage our family to stand on the manifest. Be who you are. Accept your calling, and don't allow anything to derail you or anyone to derail you from your mission. That's the real moral behind this story. So we want to encourage our family, to stay on point. Because there's a lot of distractions out here. And everybody that say they for you ain't for you. You're going to learn that the easy way or the hard way. Ask me how I know. So that's a powerful measure, family. We got a lot of work to do. So the goal is to remain on the front line and remain demonstrating love divine. If we can do that, it ain't nothing the adversary can do to stop us from becoming a greater version of ourselves. We got to use that square and compass though to draw a circle around our passions and desires. Yeah, we got to do that. If not, worse is yet to come. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and open up the floor to our family, so that we can hear from our Moorish kin. It ain't too much to really say in reference to dealing with what's self-explanatory. We just wanted to harp, with divine love and hope that we can get our family attention, with the divine harpsichord, like, this maiden did Yehoshua. Because you got to have a stronger sound, to get him on point now after what he heard. So that being said, we're going to open up the floor for our Moorish kin, and we'll start by calling our family forth, so that they can give their measure. So I'm going to get you to star 6 your phones, come in and give your portion in reference to our chapter. And for those in social media, I'm going to try to share this sound, so you just let me know if you can hear. Praise be to Allah. So let me do it. I share the window. Is that there? Let's try the entire screen. Let me see. I can pull the tab. There we go. Let's share. All right. Stop 6 your phone more.
Muted.
Islam. Can you hear our family? Yeah, I can hear you, but I'm trying to make sure they can hear you, brother. The people that's out there, the audience. Can you hear them? Go ahead, brother. You have the floor. Can anybody hear me? Can you hear me, Grand Secretary of the State on the panel? Okay, so you heard him speaking, brother Donato Basco?
We're just getting a lot of echo.
Yeah, that's because somebody may be okay, so Donato Basco, can you hear somebody? Did you hear that brother just speaking? Or do you hear just me speaking? Somebody on the conference call speak so the brother can hear you. Islam, Sister Curta Bay. Can you
Can anyone hear me?
We hear you now. We didn't hear you if you was talking any time before that.
I can hear you, brother. I think the system grand dropped off. Praise Allah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, you heard him speak.
I was wondering.
So Donato Basco, you did hear him speak about.
Jump in right away. Islam, gratitude, family.
Islam, can you hear me more?
You did hear the brother speaking. I can hear you, Grand Secretary of State.
We can't hear you on the conference call side. I can hear Dr. Marvin Edwards Bay on the conference call side, but as far as your voice, we can't hear you on the conference call side, but I can hear you on Streamline.
Okay, so you can't hear me on the conference call speaking.
No, sir, not at all.
Okay, so the Moors, did they hear any other measure that I gave?
Yes.
Okay, so they heard me in the beginning, but when I switched it over, they couldn't hear me basically.
Correct. So when you said you were going to
Okay.
open up the floor, that's when your voice dropped off the conference call side.
Okay. So okay, I see what's going on. So when I
National
speak,
Grand Secretary of the State, do you want me to call him more? I see a National Assistant Grand Chief who got his phone muted, but so I don't know. Maybe he's having some technical difficulties.
so you can hear me, but evidently he can't,
As long-
Grand Secretary of the State.
Muted.
That's because I have muted myself on the conference call side and have opened it up on StreamYard side.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
So he can't hear me because I'm muted. Otherwise, you'd hear an echo.
So he's saying he can't hear me, but you can hear me, but on this side, but not through the conference call right now.
Correct.
So what I'm gonna do when I speak, I shut it down, like stop share, and then you'll be able to hear me again. But
all right.
I can hear y'all speaking, and then the audience say that they can hear y'all speaking. So I just wanted to make sure that they could hear y'all.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so everybody that's speaking on the call can be heard by the brother Islam. So if there's any more that would like to come forth to exercise your 5, hold up, let me do this here because I got to do this.
Because we still can't hear you on the conference call.
Okay. Can you hear me on the conference call now, Grand Secretary of the State?
No, sir.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. So you can hear me on the conference call now, though.
Nope.
What? I ain't even sharing it no more. You know what? I am still sharing it. There we go. Now you can hear me on the conference call.
I don't hear anything.
What? But you heard the whole measure that I gave.
Yes, I heard the entire measure until you opened up the floor.
Okay, let me see
and that was
something.
from the conference call side. Now they're in silence right now on the conference call
There
side.
you go. It's because
Yes,
I
there
muted.
it is.
Okay, I see what's going on. I'm sorry. Yeah, I had muted out. That's what it was. Okay, there we go. Praise be to Allah. So they can hear y'all and they can hear me. All right. Okay, so let me mute back out. If anybody come forth that want to get a measure, go ahead. And I'm muting out now. Well, I tell you what we're going to have to do, Grand Secretary of the State. We probably have to have you call on them because I know they heard me. Those who probably were there, I know y'all heard me. So if you can, we'll probably have to do a little drafting, I think. Yeah, he can come in. Yeah, we were just trying to make sure everybody can hear us. That's all. But the brother, we more than welcome. You can come in too, guys, if you want to come. Islam.
fear. He gained the right to enter here. And I tell you, this chapter has always, I love to read this chapter. I have always loved to read about Yehoshua and dealing with the carnal love. In this chapter here, we see the goddess Yehoshua being entranced, and like you say, these are thoughts that goes through his mind, and dealing with the goddess. The goddess in these days and times, and not only in these days and times, because we see our prophet coming up out of the water with the goddess in her hand, in his arms, lifting the goddess up, and the goddesses have gotten kind of a bad rap as to not knowing who they really are. Because when you look at the prophet's teachings, and when you look at his holy instructions on how we should present ourselves and how we should act, then you will see what a divine goddess is supposed to be like. You see, during the times and over the years and things, because we have fallen so far from who we supposed to be, fallen so far from being the goddesses and the God women of the God women, we have fallen so far so we don't have how you put it. A lot of our women don't exhibit what a goddess should act like and what a goddess should be like. And even in this particular chapter, we see Yehoshua. It didn't say anything it didn't say anything negative about this goddess. It didn't say that she was dressed provocatively or none of that. It just shows how she was just sitting there and playing the harp, and Yehoshua noticed her. She was a beautiful goddess. She was a beautiful goddess and queen, and he fell in love with her. And it talks about how but Yehoshua had to. And even when I was in the Palestine area, I've seen many God supposedly be men of God fall for that very thing, for the woman taking them down. We've seen large ministries destroyed because of the woman who could have been planted there, or of her own motives, had motives to take that person down. See, a lot of times you don't know. A lot of women be used to take, if that God man is doing great, a lot of times they would use the woman to come in and take him off point, get him off point. And I see that with Yehoshua. Yehoshua had a work to do. And he said he had to stand firm, even though she was the most beautiful thing, and she touched his heart. But he had a work to do. And that says to me, I don't care whether you're a male or female. When you got a divine work to do, you don't let nothing, no thing, no one come in between your work for the great God Allah. Whether it be, whether it be children, because see, our children a lot of times is the closest thing to us. I know for me, when I was in the Palestine area, I would tell the great God Allah. I would say, if my children don't go, I go. I be crying because I don't, who want to give up their children? But I say, but Allah, I have to follow what you want me to do, even if it means leaving my children behind. So we have to have an attitude like that. You have to be willing to give it up. And most of the time, Allah don't even cause you to have to give that up. But you have to have that heart. You have to have that mindset. And you have to be willing to say, if I got to go by myself, I go by myself. I might be lonely. I might miss my children or whatever, that closest thing to me. But I got Allah, and I know He will fill that void. So this is a powerful. Like I say, I always love reading about Yehoshua, and the other thing that stood out to me when Yehoshua when he told the goddess that she had to, that they had to go their separate ways because he had to do his work that he was called to do. And it says, and then in sorrow and tears, the maiden went away. And it says, and Yehoshua was alone again. No, that ain't what I was looking for. Oh, yeah, this is the one I was looking at. He said, I must then bid you go. He said, but we will. He said, but we will meet again. And I took that as to be, if it's for you, like we talked about, I think it was this week or maybe last week. If someone is for you, even if you have to go your separate ways, if they for you, you gonna come back together. And he said, but we will meet again. So that made me think about, maybe Yehoshua and the goddess did meet up later on in his life, because she was a person who ministered and sung and things. She wasn't just no ordinary maiden. This was a goddess. This was a goddess. And that's what I got out of it, God, man. And like I say, I love reading about this test, the hardest test that Yehoshua had to face, but he triumphed. He triumphed over this test, and they gave him the love divine. And like I say, what I got out of that is, you just got to stay on point, keep your eyes on the great God Allah, and whatever it is that you need, Allah got it, and He will bring the right person in your life to accomplish whatever it is, and y'all can accomplish that as one. I hear you say, God, man, that twin flame. So, gratitude for letting me share. That's what I got. Peace and love.
Follow Dr. Shaheed. If you're speaking more, we can't hear you.
Yeah, there we go. Let me make sure I do it on both areas. Just give me a second here, more skin. I know the. Okay, here we go.
Unmuted.
Islam, can you hear me now, Grand Secretary of State, on the call and the panel?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Praise be to Allah. Yep. Islamism without the schism. We was just giving honors to our sister Curta Bay, for that grand drawing and making it plain. That's right. It was just the stroke, of our beloved goddess, upon that harpsichord that caught Yehoshua's attention, and we know Corner sister used a lot of other extra baggage. And, the thing is, when one has divinity in them, that's a whole nother measure. That's what we talked about. When the mind is adorned with divinity, yeah, that's the way you get to a God, man. You can't get to him with that knock thought. He ain't going for it if he got any sense anyway. Islamism without the schism. So yeah, Allah is definitely leading on and victory is sure. Praise be to Allah, Islamism without the schism. And we want to encourage our family to most definitely be on the manifest on point. So we in this new era and time have been given everything it is that we need to come into the consciousness, of the greatest aspect of ourselves. And it's an honor just to be able to go through um, all of what it is that we go through, in order for us to come into the realm, of the higher self, so to speak. One thing about it, all we got to do is stay on point, and everything gonna happen just like it's supposed to. You ain't even got to go out there looking for it, and Allah gonna put it out there just like it's supposed to be. So yeah, this is powerful. This is powerful. I just say gratitude with a divine attitude to all of our Moorish kin that is able to tap into this. But is there any other Moor who would like to come forth and give their drawing? The floor is still open. If the brother Edwards Bay want to come forth, all is well.
Dr. Marvin Edward Bay, I go after you.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, I'll go ahead. I mean, gratitude. Yeah, it's Dr. Marvin Edward Bay.
You got to speak up a little bit, brother.
Well, hey, let me let Dr. Justice Bay go, okay? Because that's probably going to be some issues. I don't know.
Yeah, you speaking loud enough now. You just speaking a little low, brother. We can hear you now. Islam, brother Justice, you want to come in?
Yes, sir. Praise Allah. Praise Allah. Honor to our Holy Prophet Noble Ali. Honor to you, National Sister Grand Chief, Dr. Saeed, for the great class tonight. And honor to all of those who assist you in class. Honor to the entire Act 1. As always, special honor.
Muted.
National Grand Sheikh and our National Grand Chairman of Moorish America are empowered to make law and enforce law with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of Moorish America. And honor to our host tonight, our National Assistant Grand Sheikh, but the Assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and is known before the citizen of Moorish America. Well, the Prophet did say, I brought you everything it takes to save a nation. And I take him to save thyself. He said, if I can get you to thinking, you'll save yourself. Praise Allah. The chapter 32, Yehoshua takes the 6th degree and passed the 6 ADEPT chambers of the Eastern SAGES. And the thing that I would really hit me is that's why it's important to remind yourself of who made you. And when I look at this test that Yehoshua was going through, we know that this was the thought. And the thought was the cause of it all. And this here is a very serious matter when you doing the Holy Prophet Noble Durali work, and you had a prophet out front knowing Allah sent him for your earthly salvation. And you take for instance 18th, and then he said, "Lo, I have conquered every foe that I have met, and I now shall be conquered by carnal love." And this can happen. This can happen to you, not just in your thought, if you put that thought in action. Because in order to stay in line with the whole of Prophet Noble Drew Ali and keep him out front, is I always truly believe would have truly worked for me is to remind myself of who made me and get back to my Moorish American prayer. Because, you know, not criticizing the sisters, women have sisters have a very powerful way of persuading you with the little flirtation and behavior, and with some is maybe just a little skin appear. But you know, with me, I'm gonna be honest. I used to lie to pretend I was out there dating this woman and that woman. But see, I came up in a different way. I was raised by my grandmother, and see, she was putting a lot of things in my head about why you don't want to, you know, get out here and run around. Oh, I made an error along the way, but it put a lot of fear in me. And I'll tell you why, because this is a new era of time. See, we're dealing with now many different things, and Yehoshua was dealing with those thoughts above the neck, like so many people are doing today, even myself. But what I was looking at is where it was beating in my head about the behavior out here, running behind women and falling for all the little comments and statements they make and getting yourself in trouble. And see, if you look at 23, it says, I'm going to finish. So you look at 23, it says, although my heart shall break, I will not fall in this my hardest test. I will be victor over carnal love. And my grandmother, who kept us and lived coming up, she talked about challenges that we'll face. And when you're out here on your own, there's decisions you're gonna have to make, and they're gonna require yes or no. And this is what Yehoshua was at. He was coming up on these decisions. He wanted to, but he knew he had work to do. So he kind of like, you know, his thought just kind of like, all our work or enjoy this moment. And he knew that he had to be about his father's business, the work that he had to do, aid and assist the people. That was the responsibility that he had. And you have to be like the champ said, you have to stay strong. And I believe you have to stay strong and be stronger. Because this can come up on any man, whether he married or not. But if you're not being faithful and got the whole of Prophet Noble Drew Ali out front and knowing that you must be about your father's business, this work here in the Moorish American government, this will happen to you. This had happened to quite a few brothers in the Moorish American government. I know, I was a witness. And, you know, what this chapter did for me, time to time, I often go to it, is it made me stronger. It fixed it so I would no longer have to lie to brothers about had this woman, that woman, not so much about physically, but talking to us, seeing what have you. Only a handful of sisters I was talking to and involved with just a few. That is because of what the prophet had instilled in my grandmother, and my grandmother instilled in me. And coming home to the Moorish American government and getting the laws and lessons and coming across this chapter, it allowed me to be comfortable with myself for who I am and to be proud to say, because of Allah and the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali, I didn't have this particular problem at that such high degree. But there was some challenges there. But because I had faith and trust in our Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali, everything he brought coming directly from Allah, the great God of the universe, I didn't do it. And then I felt so confident about it when I had a woman here in the Moorish American government came in my life, Rachel. I didn't have to hide any excuses. I didn't have to make up any lies and exaggerated stories. Cause see, I didn't suffer with a heartbreak. But then this thought hit me hard when there was conditioning situation developing based on what other men have said, knowing that I had to make sure that the sister had these laws and lessons. And it became a job, but see, at the same time, I couldn't allow the carnal love to conquer me and allow me to get away from my laws and lessons with the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali out front. That was and I don't mind saying that was some minor thing that any man and a woman go through with, especially coming home to the most powerful government in the world. I'm getting ready to go, brother. Most powerful government in the world. But you have to remember who made you. Now I'm not going to exaggerate, but I had some bumps there, but I wasn't letting go the prophet for anything. And my old true saying is that no matter how tough, how hard things get, I ain't letting the prophet go for anyone, not the wife, not the children, the grands, or anything. This is where I stand, and I practice what I preach. And it's not hard to be proved, but I know there's temptation out there. But right now, and as long as I'm obeying the prophet and reminding myself of who made me, I'm not bothered because I'm here and I'm focused on these laws and lessons. So, Yehoshua, even when Yehoshua finds himself alone, although he passed many furnace rooms, and you can kind of like use the thought saying that was many there, many being escorted as he was, but he found himself alone because he wasn't submitting to that carnal love, that carnal appearance. He reminded himself who made him, Allah, the great God of the universe. And that's what every Moorish American, like the sister Ninja Curtis Bay was saying, that includes the women too. Every Moorish American have to do what the prophet. The prophet said, the prophet said, you're not going to make it through unless he's at the head. And all of us have to keep the prophet at the head, and we have to be strong. We have to remind ourselves who made us. Because if not, you're going to fall for that kind of love, that kind of behavior, and that kind of group that want to rev and cause some kind of disturbance in the government. So, yes, this is a very powerful class, and honor to you, National Assistant Grand Chief, for this great class tonight, because this class just remind you that even when it comes to, you have to remind yourself who made you when it comes to this kind of love or any kind of behavior, because Allah made you, and he sent the Holy Prophet Noble Drew for your earthly salvation, and you have work to do. And the only way you're going to get that work done is you got to be faithful and not allow these kind of behaviors to pull you down. Islam and peace.
And Islam. Hold up. Hold up. There we go.
Unmuted.
Islam and peace to you as well, brother. Praise be to Allah.
Islam,
Sister Anna Jane.
Islam.
Bay. You got the flow.
Muted.
Praise Allah. This is Divine Minister Annie Swinson Bay. Once again, I rise and give all praises to our Father God, Allah, and honor to his prophet, Noble Drew Ali, our prophet, Noble Drew Ali, and High Sharif Abdul Ali, and honor to our March America government, all the official citizens in kin. I give honor to you, Assistant Grand Chief, for this class on tonight. And about Yehoshua, Yehoshua takes the 6th degree and passed the 6th ADEPT chamber of the Eastern SAGES. I thought about what Yehoshua had to go through. He conquered every fold. But this was one of the hardest ones, the way he's talking to us that he had to conquer. And you know, when you're serving Allah and following the holy prophet, right, and you know that Allah is going to keep you. And that's what Yehoshua had to go through. And he conquered that kind of love. You know, I think about when I was in Marsh Science Temple, and we had to go to another state in Virginia. And I was riding with the Grand Sheik. And all the Grand Sheik wanted to meet me. He just wanted to meet Sister Annie. But he didn't know the power that Allah have in me. See? And him and I was riding. And the Grand Sheik, he was, you know, this was the Grand Sheik. And he got fresh with me. I stood my ground. I didn't say nothing. I just stood my ground. And I was so close to the door of the car, and if it hit a bump, I believe that car, I would have fell out the door. But still yet, men that in high degree, and I've seen them do this. Just like Carter Bay said. And you know, he grabbed me and he hugged me, squeezed me so tight. And he was just grabbing me and hugging me. I was amazed. And he wanted to buy me some tires to go on my car. I had tires, but I didn't say nothing. I didn't argue with him, but I know what he was after. But you see, it takes Allah to keep you. Just like Allah kicked Yehoshua. You know, we're going to be tempted at all points. And Yehoshua was too, see? Because he was in the flesh, God in the flesh. And longer we are in the fleshly body, oh yeah, we're going to be tempted at all points, in all things. But we know who live in us and who we are following. Because, you know, temptations are out here. And so, you know, I was kind of falling for it. And I thought about, hey, I'm a service of Allah. And here I am in the temple, you know. And I said, now, I know, now, they shouldn't lie this. But, you know, he was strong in power with Allah. I'm talking about Yehoshua. And so am I. And I still am, praise Allah. Praise his holy name. And gratitude to our prophet. Always honor to our prophet Noble Ali. And you know who you followed and who made you. Because there's temptation out there. All different types of men. All different colors. You see a nice looking woman with the nice shape, or the woman see a nice looking man, but you got to bring yourself back, who you following, and you hear the voice talk to you. And so Yehoshua said that the work that he was sent to do, and he doing it. He did it. He had to catch himself. And like me, I had to catch myself and know who I'm following. And that thing hurted me for a while. And I was, before I came into Marshall Miracle Government, praise the Lord, I was talking to our Grand Sheik, Sherman, about it. And he told me, he said, don't worry, you're home now. Ooh, I cried, and I prayed and I prayed. But he was trying to get the wrong woman. See, you have to know where you're standing at with Allah and who you followed, Allah and the prophet. And they would keep you. Just like Yehoshua kept And this maid, I mean, this Grand Sheik, he was tall, handsome, brown skinned, and good looking. But hey, I know who I'm serving, and I know who I'm following. And I said, it did. It really hurted me. It's hurted me so bad. And when I told, he talked to me, he was angry with me because I did not follow after what he was trying to do to me. He put me out of the temple and told me I couldn't come on the radio no more. I told him, okay, all right, that's fine. Praise the Lord, that's fine. Sure did. I didn't have to just get out because I wouldn't go along with his devious ways. No, praise Allah. So I see this. Now his heart was shared with me, but not mine with him. But like I said, he was good looking. He was good looking, very good looking. But I had my mind, and I still have my mind on serving Allah and following Prophet Noble Drew Ali the right way. See, and that's what Yehoshua did. And I have work to do. And hey, nobody and nothing I'm not going to put before our Father God, Allah, and our Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and know who I am, and know that I am a true Moorish American, and we do not play that. Not Moorish American government, because Allah is leading this government. That's right. It is as holy and divine. And so as all Moorish Americans, not supposed to be out there doing this and doing that and think that Allah don't know and don't see you, and the prophet don't know where you at and what you're doing. You got to be straight. You got to be, true what you're doing. That's right. In this Moorish American government. And when you're home and abroad, they see you and they know that, hey, that's a godly woman. Or I see something in her or him that I don't see in no one else. They can see that light. They can see it. Now, praise Allah for the prophet. Honor to the prophet. And I love the prophet. I love my Moorish American government, how they teaching to be straight, to follow Allah the right way, and don't bring what's out there in those temples and out there in the United States into Moorish American government, because this is a theocratic, holy and divine movement, and Allah is leading on and victory is sure. Praise Allah and honor to you, Assistant Grand Sheik, for allowing me to bring my message. Peace and love to you.
And
Unmuted.
peace and love to you as well, Sister Anna Jean Swinson Bay. Praise be to Allah for being steadfast. Islamism without the schism. All right. Is there any other more who would like to come forward and exercise their fire?
Islam?
Islam.
Islam. Let's talk about today with the Iowa Territory.
Muted.
First, I'd like to rise and give all manner of praise to Allah. Honor to the Prophet. Honor to our theocratic government, our World Council, flag, seal, emblem, our divine constitution, our swift angels, keys, citizens elect, honor to all the Mars. I speak before me, all the ones that will speak after. Honor to you for this class. Question on the floor statement. Says, see students ever enter these rooms. These priests guided them with awe and called them halls of mysteries. When Yehoshua had attended Excuse me. When Yehoshua had attained the victory over fear, he gained the right to enter. Yeah. And so you know, this is the dynamic of society we live in now, is to push fear. And in order to push fear, that's how you control a slave. Is to create a emotional dependency on a particular form of life, or something that, or I would just say life in general, because people use death as a fear aspect too. They use losing your job as a fear aspect too, and what have you, in order to gain control. And that's something that I have a hard time operating from. I can't operate out of that. It doesn't move with my spirit. I get very irritated when I feel like there's somebody is trying to use fear, because of like the prophet said. He said, "Be the plain truth." He didn't say dress your truth up. He didn't say add nothing to it. He didn't say put on no tinsels. He didn't say dress it in gold. He didn't say put it in the outside. He said be the plain truth. Because if you once you tell the plain truth, or the plain truth is uttered, therefore there's nothing else. There's nothing else more powerful than something in its plain. You hear, even when I listen to music and I hear rappers or even musicians use certain phrases, the most hard-hitting music is those that keep it simple, but they can talk to you from their everyday language. And so, just like with delivering the truth, if you got to address your truth up to me, then I know it's not what you say it is. It can't be what you say it is, because you have to dress it up in order to make it look like that to you. When you can just tell me, man, it's truth and false, it's crazy mix, I can get that. I can understand that clearer, more precise, more concise than I can that there's a devil in a pie in the sky daddy. I can understand that I'm my God and I'm my devil better than I can understand that there's this God that's in the sky throwing lightning bolts down on people. It's angry that I can't get with that. So a lot of times when I hear things of that nature, I gotta turn my feet from that direction, because that's not the direction my higher self wants me to move in. We have enough to fear as a people, and somebody trying to push fear and using fear as a point of sale, and that doesn't. And I see why you people got to enter that room, because most people are driven off of fear. You can scare them. That's why they put my little brother in scared straight. They didn't put me in scared straight. They knew that there was going to be. But they knew that that's not something that would move me. That moved him, but it didn't move me at all. So and by way is why I'm not fearful. You know what I'm saying? I was when I was younger in certain aspects, but it was a lot of things that teenager or a person as young as myself shouldn't have been dealing with in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So, but in how I'm molded by the cosmic, my cosmic power, I can't even hear fear. I can't be around it. I can't hear it, because if it got to be done, then it got to be done. Whatever has to be done has to be done. And if I'm put in a situation where that Allah wants me to move in that direction, that's the way I got to move there. There's no in between. There's not I can't decide that. It's already decided. That's the whole point. Even when in the Matrix, where he sat down with the Oracle and she offered him a piece of candy. He was like, "You already know if I was going to take it or not." So, but you still offered it. And that's the question. If it's already out, there's no reason for, we ain't got to do all the fear stuff. Our people have to be, though we say that, the prophet said, my people are from Missouri, which means you got to show me state. And so that's why it is vital to, when you speak, just let your yes be your yes and your no be your no. Anything outside of that gets people misconstrued. And that's why a lot of times I get a bad rap because I'm overly blunt. And I think that being overly blunt, I don't want people to misconstrue me. So I have to be, at times, I have to say stuff harsh. I just have to, because people think everybody's playing, and because they like to dress things up, and it's not really that it's not really, all that theatrics needed. That's why I like the Exhuman of the Nation when I read it. That's why I like, even your website, Latino's Archives of Wisdom, because it's just plain. You know what I'm saying? And things that get shrouded lose its value. And I think that's one thing you got to gain around yourself is gain your value. So you have to get rid of all the fear. So you can create your value at that point. And that's how these lessons become with us. They gain value because once we simplify it and we get the gist of it, then it is easier lived than it is, spoken at that point. So, this is what I got from your measure and grand measure and peace and love.
And peace and love, brother. Give me 1 second here. Hold up. Okay, there we go.
Unmuted.
Yeah, peace and love to you, brother Bati Bay. Allah is leading on and victory is sure. Islam is without the schism. But all right. There's still room for some more. The floor is still open.
Islam.
Islam, Sister Cammy, you got it.
Gratitude.
Muted.
This is Sister Cammy. I'm in Michigan. I rise, honor, and praise the great God Allah. I honor His Prophet Noble Drew Ali, officials, citizens, Moors here, there, and everywhere, especially my Moorish kin. That maiden. I see the maiden as temptation. In the ayat, the fleshly temptations with Yehoshua and those carnal desires. Any temptation to going back to that Negro. Some temptation I may get sometimes as far as using profanity and not biting my tongue. But there are other temptations or other tempters that are no longer existent to me, now that I'm as Moorish as ever in my day-to-day behavior. Bars, clubs, parties, all of that stuff is no longer a temptation to me, especially on a Friday or Saturday night. I can't think of anywhere else I'd rather be. Those tempters in your day-to-day demonstration, they can weaken you. Don't let it weaken you. I'm not talking about what I think. I'm talking about what I've gone through. Those tempters, they can weaken you. And keep in mind that you are strong. Allah made you. in his likeness and image, and you have the strength of Allah above and below the neck. Those tempters, they hit you above and below the neck. Your loins, in that area down there, it'll tempt you all right, just like with that maiden. And I think it was Annie Jean, she talks about the tempter. Women get tempted too by men. Attractive men seem to be every woman's dream. The maiden and that temptation. Don't let it get the best of you. Stay strong in your faith to Allah, and you can overcome it. Allah's leading on and victory is sure. Gratitude.
Unmuted.
Islam, Sister Cameron, we give honors to you for that drawing. Praise be to Allah. Islamism without the schism. Gratitude. Islam, is there any other more that would like to come forth and exercise their fire? Islam.
Islam. Grand Class, Sister National Grand Chief.
Muted.
This is Sean Washington, M.O. Tuck, Raw Bayo from the Michigan Territories. I rise, give all praise to the great God Allah. I give all honors to Sharif Abdul Ali, the last prophet of all times. Give honors to Marcus Garvey. Give all honors to this democratic government, 12 departments for doing a grand job. Give all honors to all my boys kid on this great class tonight, grand class. Give all honors to the Book of Fire, the 101s, 102s, the Holy Quran, Hadiths, the Book of Ali. And give all honors to the Prophet's tea, all his remedies. I don't have that much time left. Tempted. You know, and I was just thinking that last week. People out here chasing the carnal self of people, worship people, relationships. Man, like woman, I be saying that to my, a woman can be tempted too. She can fall into the delusions of man. Same with a man, especially a man. Man is always, trying to find a carnal love. And people just, people, like I be saying, people want attention, And I heard all that about these organizations, Morrison Temple, I heard that be, messing with people, messing around with other wives, Moore's wives. It's Christianity. They caught up in that attempted stuff. Basically it's just the organization. I was in the organization. I see all that. People come in there to trying to find love, the carnal self of people. And like this Moorish government, you can't not come in here and bring a lot of confusion. It's right in our divine constitution. You can't overthrow the laws in this government. And basically the organizations is basically you ain't gonna get too far. It's not opposed to government. All these different groups and all that, and that's what's going on. They sleeping around with one another, and I be hearing that out there. I heard that last year, some one of these temples, they be messing around with, sleeping with each other, and basically, and I don't want to be part of that no more. I'd rather be in exposed to government, getting the real truth, and basically, man and woman, You gotta love yourself first. You gotta love yourself. You can't look at the outside of people, how they look. It don't mean nothing. You know, it ain't about the body or the soul. You don't look at like Grand that Secretary of State. She said, don't look at don't look at the eyes. You know, you can't look at people where they look. You know, that don't mean nothing. Really, you know, it's in the heart. It's in your heart though, you know. And a lot of people still is going on these date sites that's catfishing, and people are tricking them. You know, those people don't. That's not
Your input is invalid.
getting catfish. You know, that's people out there. They gonna learn the hard way one day. You know, gotta let them be who they want to be. Keep it moving, and you know, I'm gonna do this work. You know, drop these blessings. Keep Allah, the Prophet, in front of me. You know, grand class, peace and love, gratitude.
Unmuted.
Gratitude, grand man, for that drawing. Praise be to Allah, Islamism without the schism. All right, we got room for one more. Islam, star 6 your phone.
Islam.
Islam, grand man.
Islamism.
Muted.
I'm Star Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I'm to the Moorish American government. I'm to this beautiful class. I'm to you for hosting this beautiful class. Moorish Perspectives. National Assistant Grand Sheik. Beautiful class on Yehoshua takes the 6th degree and passes the 6th ADEPT chamber of the Eastern SAGES. And the topic coming from the first 2 ayats. Few students ever entered these rooms. The priest guarded them with awe and called them halls of mystery. When Yehoshua had attained the victory over fear, he gained the right to enter here. Islam. Honest to our Moorish American government, this beautiful theocracy. Honest to our Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Honest to our flag, our emblem, our seal, everything that is Moorish. Islam. It's definitely a grand demonstration. All the Moors gave a beautiful demonstration. I'm just speaking to more about this demonstration. You know, every level there's a greater devil in our own demonstration, and we bring these experiences to ourselves. And what I found is more so is the reaction. You know, when these temptations, you know, come forth, you know, these are expressions coming forth from our own mind out of the demonstration that we put forth. You know, I used to think that why is Allah tempting me? Or why is Allah testing me? Or why is Allah putting this forth in my demonstration? I come forth in these more schools, and I found out that it was my own. You know, Allah didn't make a heaven or hell for myself, but it was my own thoughts that were, you know, that were magnetizing and pulling these things forth, and thought is the cause of it all. So I had to learn that this demonstration is a play. This life is a play that I'm creating, you know. And so this is how I activate my fear. This is how I activate these tests oneself. You know, Allah's leading on within the self and within one's life, within one's very own story, and see that Allah is leading on with this harmony of love. You spoke on the harmony of love that is brought forth in this demonstration. This can be intoxicating from a physical standpoint when we look at the beauty of life.
And please enter your PIN followed by the pound or hash. If you do not know your PIN, please enter pound or hash. Thank you.
within the bounds of righteousness. And so it's just a grand measure that we have our tools, we have ourself intact, and that we can keep our thoughts above the neck. Islam and peace. Gratitude for the grand measure. Islam.
Unmuted.
Islam, brother. Heavenly Bay, we give honors to you for all it is that you do. Praise be to Allah, Islamism without the schism. Allah is leading on and victory is sure. But all right. Let us call forth then our officials, starting with our sister Al Moon El. Islam, you there, goddess and queen. But Islamism, we know she's about our father's business. So let us call forth then our National Grand Mufti, Dr. Kanchu Mark Heru Bey. Islam, you there, Grand Man.
Islam.
Islamism.
That is all.
Muted.
Islam, loveism, Allahism. Praise Allah for Islamism. Praise Allah for this class this evening. We rise giving all thanksgiving, adoration, worship, and praise to our Father God Allah, the great God of the universe, the most beneficent and the most wise, and we give the highest honors that we can give to his prophet. Our prophet, the last prophet in these days and in these times, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, El-Haj Sheikh Sharif Abdullah Ali, the savior of humanity. We give honor to his forerunner, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and we give honor to his government. Our government, the Moorish American government, the government in which we live, according to Act 6. We give honor to the officials of this said government, our divine ministers, swift angels, our mufti, our royal council, our secretaries. We give honor to our citizens, the Moorish Americans. We give honor to our flag, our divine constitution and bylaws, our Holy Quran, our Grand National Seal and emblem, our Book of Fire, the exhuming of a nation. We give honor to everything that is Moorish. We give a special high honors to you, National Sister Grand Sheikh, Dr. Shadu Minty and Medu Septuagint, for bringing forth this grand Moorish perspective. We give honors to all of our Moorish kin who have spoken before us. And to our Moorish kin that will speak after us, we give honors to you, angels.
Your input is invalid.
And we give honors to our ancestors. They have come before us leading the way. We are them today without doubt or contradiction. Because no one has the power to change man from his descent nature. Praise the Lord for that. And this has been a grand class, and what I have to add to the wealth of information that you brought forth this evening is just my own, or a perspective, I should say, with this lesson.
Your input is invalid.
Walk the halls of mystery. It reminded me that, few do, at least of our people, of those who are seeking to understand the true divinity of the God nature within himself. Few have walked through those halls of mystery or my story. In this day and time, we've been given the history or his story or the thought pattern that is outside of the self. This is why it's his story and not my story. Because one has come to usurp your birthright. birthright. And in order to do that, he had to get you up out of the birthright. So you had to get you out of your land, out of yourself, so he could take that position. He had to get you to vacate the throne. And so he told you about his story. So you had to go and search for God outside yourself, search for salvation outside yourself. And everybody gets that because one is looking for wealth and power. Few are the ones who understand that when you go and demonstrate the true lesson or pass those on the degrees so that you can learn that, you're going to enter the halls of my story or mystery, the things that are to be exposed, the things that one needs to learn, the things that are hidden. And the hidden demonstration, of course, as we know, a prophet brought it forth, is the self. The lesson is man, know thyself. And thy Father God Allah. That's the mystery. Everything else out there is the history or his story of things that other ones have done outside of the self. And so the true wealth, the true wisdom and knowledge comes from going in the self and drawing out the marvel of the self. What makes what they call great people great is that that's what they do. They find their own uniqueness and they perfect their own uniqueness. And in perfecting their own uniqueness, they stand out. And they create trends and fads and things like that and are looked at as great because they have understood that I just got to be me. While those who don't measure up to that greatness is because they are looking to emulate or trying to be something somebody else was. But that's not what somebody else was, is not the gift that God gave to them. It was not the purpose that God gave to them to be somebody else. It was to be the self. Because in being the self, you are a priceless creation of God. You know what I mean? He perfected each and every one of us in our own demonstration that seemed good unto the self, in his own image and likeness, but in our own uniqueness as we look at the attributes, the many attributes of Allah that we all are demonstrating. And so the true wealth comes in when one is looking into their own story, into the mystery, and learn that, which few try to access or get to access because they have bought into this demonstration of history and looking at it from somebody else's point of view, which we can see obviously, especially growing up in the United States, that the history they give you is all European based. It's not a world history. It's a history that's brought forth from a European thought pattern coming out from their forefathers and their journey across the earth land and what they've done. And everything presented from their mental thought pattern, whether you call it manifest destiny or Christian crusades, or how they came out of fighting each other in Europe and got together in order to go into North Africa and wage war with us, and learning to sail, going through their dark times as a plague, and all that demonstration is their story. But he taught it to us. They made that as a curriculum for us to be able to operate in a society. But the wise understand and those who are blessed and those who are on a journey for enlightenment. The sixth ADEPT degree shows that, that this is where the true blessedness comes. This is where the true enlightenment comes, and stepping through the hall, love, divine, and demonstrating understanding the self. So, gratitude for this class this evening, National Sister Grand Sheik, and bringing forth the grand lesson. I just wanted to add that because it just brought that out when you set that part of the measure out. Even thinking about, our story, what that means, and what we are writing, as the prophet said, when you get the pen in your hand, you tell your own story. So, gratitude to you, Morris America, for being here with us and giving us time, attention, respect. We love you. Islam and peace.
Unmuted.
And Islam and peace to you as well, brother. For that draw, and praise be to Allah and Islamism without the schism. Allah is leading on, and victory is sure. Yes, sir. Well, all right. Well, let us call forth our Grand National Secretary of State, Sister Chpt32, Rakat Ma'at Anpu, Tutankhamun Bay. Islamism, you there, Goddess and Queen?
Closest to thought, gratitude.
Gratitude, peace and love.
Islam Morishkin. First of all, I want to rise, giving all praises to our Father God Allah,
Muted.
to our Prophet, Noble Durrah Ali, the last prophet in these days and times, giving honor to our Moorish American government, all of our officials, staff, Swift angels, muftis, divine ministers, most especially our Moorish kin. Giving honor to all those Moors that spoke before me, all those Moors that will speak after me. Giving a special honor to our National Assistant Grand Sheik of Moorish America, Dr. Shadawa Menti El Mohedjed Chepsuel, for opening our meeting according to law, and also hosting this Grand Moorish Perspectives class this evening. We want to also give honor to our Consul General of Texas, Dr. Marvin Edwards Bay, for taking registration and reading our subject chapter for the week. Our subject matter, coming from chapter 32, Yehoshua takes the sixth degree and passed the sixth ADEPT chamber of the Eastern Sages. Ayat 2, few students ever entered these rooms. The priests guarded them with awe and called them halls of mysteries. And we're speaking about the degree of love divine. And when I was listening to the beautiful blessings that my Moorish kin brought forth, and also giving honor to our family online, I was thinking about the degrees that had been conquered previously by Yehoshua, dealing with sincerity, justice, faith, the ADEPT degree of philanthropy, heroism, and now love divine. And in looking at this and what Yehoshua had to demonstrate, what our Prophet Noble Durrah Ali had to demonstrate, and also what each and every one of us have got to be able to recognize, conquer, and master in dealing with the study of the self is that degree of love divine. So we see that the lower aspect, the carnal nature, or whatever term that we want to apply to it, we have got to be able to master these particular weaknesses, because they can lead to so many offshoots and branches. And we have seen nations go to war behind misunderstandings, especially when it comes down to relationships. When we look at, it states the current of his thought was changed. So we're looking at, I just passed this test, got to go through fear, et cetera, and now here comes one in female garb, then now his thought is focused on her. And when we look at that from a manifest perspective, we say, well, there's nothing wrong with that, but when we look at it from an aspect of one's whole life being dedicated to being of service to the Creator, being of service to our Prophet Noble Drew Ali, of service to humanity. And there are different paths that you take. Not saying that we are not to, have the family members and things of that nature, take upon oneself a wife and a sister agreeing to be a wife, but we're looking at it from the aspect of one's mission of divinity. And I have experienced it myself. I've also seen this where sometimes we don't recognize the value of our special station. And not only is it a detriment to one's character, because when it says few have even been on these levels, because a lot of times most of our people are looking at from it at the aspect of what I can see with my physical eyes, what I can hear with my physical ears, and that's the end all be all, but nothing to be further from the truth. So we first have to be able to master and conquer our own lower nature, because it can extend to competition, jealousy. We've even seen murder where because I have not, again, put my passions and desires within the bounds of righteousness. So therefore, how low can I go? Let's see, let's check it out. And this is not the thought pattern indicative of a Moorish American national. And when you find yourself being mesmerized or being entranced or being so caught up in or hung up in something where you can't see anything else outside of that, and it does not have to be a brother or a sister. It could be a particular God that you have started to worship now. It could be your own lower thinking. So we have to be careful of these weaknesses because they can be used against us. And when we're speaking about demonstrating a pure and clean nation of people, we have seen degrees of, as our Moorish kin has stated, agent provocateurs, which will target, that's the consul general of this particular state or this particular territory. And next thing you know, what's his weakness? Well, I know he has a thing for sisters, or I know he got a thing for alcohol, or a thing for drugs, and then send that particular degree in that person's presence, knowing that weakness has not been checked. Or let's see if they have checked that particular weakness. And next thing you know, you wonder, wait a minute, dime dropped, all kinds of degrees because we have not taken the time to deal with the study of the self. So when I look at being able to be fortified, because you're going to have tests come on so many levels. They could come at one just because of the name, what it is you stand for. This person think he all that. Let me knock them down a couple of pegs. Now that's jealousy, hatred, competition, or what have you. And so when we speak about going on the highways and byways, you got to be fortified with love divine. You can't afford to get hung up in carnal desires, passions, for whatever it is, because you can be manipulated and taken off the count. So what is the difference between dealing with a slave of one's passions and dealing with the NBC thought pattern? So when you're looking at it from the God state, then in essence, you are able to discern truth from falsehood. And this is not saying that at all cases, because sometimes something does catch one through a door that one had not observed. But you still have that foundation of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, where you're not going to totally get taken off the count. This is why we got to be careful of being entranced, mesmerized, or how they used to say ring through the nose and things of that nature, where you see no wrong, or we're not speaking about going out there looking for stuff, but we're speaking about being able to discern. If you know your own higher self and lower self, then you are able to discern that outside of yourself and also within yourself. So when we look at what are our own strengths and weaknesses, we have to be man enough or woman enough to be able to go within and do the research, go within and see what things that we need to improve upon. So that indeed is a blessing. And when we recognize the foundation is about love, divine, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, then we're able to rise above no matter what conditions come at us, whether they be within our own psyche, because we know sin lies in the wish, desire, not in the act. So the thought is the cause of it all. So when we are thinking from a level of divinity, even though tests may come, we're going to be able to get through that, because chapter 1 says victory is assured. But we can't be so demonstrated from a mode of vanity or, head so big that we can't recognize when we're getting ready to try to put this. We shouldn't be so big-headed or vain or dealing with forgetfulness or thinking that the mission that we're on is not so valuable, that we cannot be found into a situation that we had not been looking for. So with fortifying ourselves, being always on our post when it comes down to keeping our head on a swivel. I got that term. I think it's from North Carolina, Moore's Kin. But yes, just being on our post consciously, going through these highways and byways, because Allah is God, but you still have those spirits of you, the gods that they are. But they can't stop this. But it's up to us to be able to be the vanguard. So gratitude, Moore, for calling me forth. Much peace and love to all of my Moorish kin. Islam.
And gratitude, Grand Secretary of State. We give honors to you for all that you do. And praise be to Allah for all that the tribe of endurance, demonstrates as a whole. Islamism without the schism. Well, speaking of Islamism without the schism in the tribe of endurance, let me call forth my Grand National Chairman, Dr. Akin Acted, Pert M. Heru, to the coming day. Islam, you there, Grand Man?
Man, please, I wish a member would.
Islamism. Gratitude, Grand Man.
Without the schism. Praise Allah and on to the last prophet of these days and time that was sent to bring us to everyone.
Muted.
And more, this is a mighty, mighty mission. And we want to speak about love divine, because the measure, the prophet asked you about who made you. And this is something that we had to come into the consciousness of, especially after slavery. Because during that time, we thought Massa was everything. Because Massa made us. He the one who called us NBCs. You see, because that was Massa's job. So he get to call us all kinds of whatever. And we thought that's what we were. We didn't know no better, because it's what we thought we were. But due to divinity, when it come down to the first question, who made you? Who really made you? Upon investigation, turned out it was the great God that makes all living things. And this is the one that made us all. So it's an honor, a blessing more that we have our question, 101 of them. But guess what? We ain't one without them. So it's all well and good. Islam is without a schism. Peace and blessings.
Islamism without the schism. Peace and blessings indeed. Not long ago, Chairman, we had to let them see, that Allah, been there from the beginning. So we know, who made you. And you know that you done gave us the degrees, that we can get them and make them applicable. All we got to do is look at us. Goodness gracious. So speaking of looking at us and taking this truth, so to speak, to save itself, let us call on our national grand sheik, Dr. Serapis Amin Rael. Islam, you there, national grand sheik?
Islam, I can't know, but you must take us out.
Islam.
Thing is messed up here. I feel only all is well on the end. And I'm going to give my soul, Father God, alive, the highest praise. And to his love song, I know where I read. I given us these grand cemetery, you can ways we see is from a heavenly perspective and a universal goal. Not so much to reach heaven's splendor, but to be under heaven at all times. And then God and on top of that, this
Muted. Unmuted.
Islam, and we give honors to your sheik for that grand droid. Praise be to Allah, Islamism without the schism. And pardon the technical difficulties, Moorish kin in the background noise. We definitely are on the manifest, and we just say praise be to Allah, Islamism without the schism, and we love you. We love your sheik, and we love Moorish America. Gratitude with a divine attitude. January 15, 1929. A warning from the prophet to be read at every meeting. I hereby inform all citizens that they must end all radical agitating speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. When these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any citizen or group of citizens who hold malicious feelings toward the government of the subhanAllah or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the laws laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Drew Ali. If the prophet is not right, the government is not right. The prophet therefore is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the government. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. By order of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, we bring forth this divine decree. Chapter 25, a holy covenant of the Asiatic nations. Yea, the children of one father provided for by his care, and the breasts of one mother have given you suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other. Go in peace, Muslims. Peace and love.
Great class, National Sister Grand Sheik, Dr. Cheyenne. Great class. Love all you moors. Don't get to pay your dues. Don't get to pay your dues.
Love you, Grand Sheik.
Love you, Sheik. Love you, Chairman. Sister Grand Sheik. Love all you moors. Love you, come clean, Sister Chairman.
Islam, Moors, we love you.
This session is no longer being recorded.
Islam, we want to give honor to
Grand Sheik, we love you, brother.
Islam. We love you, Moors, and we give honor to our family for checking in.
Islam.
Noble Brian L., the native Basco, all the way from the UK, supporting this demonstration.
Grand Class, Lord,
Sakina Raw, we give honors to Charles Royale, Kama'at, all of y'all. Peace and love.
Off class.
See y'all in the next
Peace and love.
Islam, Moors.
I like
See y'all in Sunday school.
sure.